This is a video about pricking out. Now you often hear the term pricking out when people are discussing propagation, and that's because it's a really commonly used technique. And we certainly have a number of varieties and a number of sow and grow videos where we refer to pricking out as a technique. So we've created a standalone video so you can completely understand exactly what it is and know what you're doing if you're going to attempt the technique. Basically, the pricking out technique just means relatively densely sowing seed in a small area, so either in lines in a tray or within one small pot. You then very carefully separate the plants once they're big enough, and you can plant them up into individual modules. So this technique is particularly useful when you're working with very tiny seed. Basically, if the seed's really small, you don't want to be trying to separate off 1 or 2 seeds in order to individually sow them. It's much easier just to scatter them across an area, wait till they come up, and then you can separate out the plants, which is much easier. So in this pot, I have sown cabbage seed, and this is the kind of size you're waiting for. You're waiting till they're starting to get their first true leaves. So the first 2 leaves that a seedling produces are actually not true leaves. They're seed leaves, and they were the food source when it was still inside the seed. So it's the first true leaf that you're looking for. Now you want to make sure that the soil is fairly moist because it's going to break apart a lot more easily that way. If it's very dry, you can find that the roots really stick together. So make sure you've got nice moist compost before you start your pricking out process. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a pencil or a lolly stick, and you're going to go right down to the bottom and just start easing up and breaking up the soil. The idea is to carefully separate the plants at the roots without damaging the roots. Get a hold of a small group of the plants and carefully tease them away from the others. And you can see there that this group of plants has come out with all its roots attached. Then you want to make some holes in a tray of compost. And you want to hold your little seedlings one by one by the leaves. And that's because at this stage, those tiny stems are incredibly delicate and it's really easy to crush them. So it's safer to hold them and manipulate them by the leaves. So separate them out one by one, and then you can carefully put them into the holes in your module tray. And keep doing that until you've got one plant growing in each section of the module tray, and then they can grow on from here. Now the extra benefit of this is that you end up with guaranteed one plant growing in every section of the module tray, whereas if you're germinating seeds in there, sometimes the odd one won't germinate and you end up with a hole. So this way you know you've got a plant growing in every single piece of space. And that's it. It's really very simple, but it's definitely a useful technique when you're dealing with smaller seed.